friends. Welcome to Sky House Herbs podcast. I'm Ashley Ellenvoss, a clinical herbalist, and in this space, I share my knowledge and experience with plant medicine to help you on your own journey of healing and transformation. Join me in exploring the ancient wisdom of plant spirit medicine and how it can be used to heal the body, mind, and spirit. We'll talk to experts in the field and share stories from people who've been transformed by powerful plant allies. New episodes are released each Monday, so please subscribe. And now, let's explore this mystical world of plant medicine together. Hey everyone, welcome in. Today I have a special episode for you. We'll be in my kitchen and I'll show you 5 recipes that are wonderful for increasing your libido, increasing sensitivity, and just overall tonics to help with sexual function. Before we go into today's content, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, it helps other people to find me and it helps me to spread my work, which is empowering other people to use herbs for healing for themselves, their families, and their communities. As always, I love to hear from you. So leave your comments in the comments section. Click the like button if you found this to be helpful. And now let's go into my kitchen and talk about herbs and passion potions. Hey everyone, welcome in. Today we're in my kitchen and I'll be showing you some of my favorite passion potions or recipes that can help you increase your libido, increase your sensitivity, and really just awaken your senses so that you can be more open to intimacy and more connected to your own body in the process. I have 5 recipes to share with you. I'm not going to be able to show you all of them, but I'll give you a sense of how you can make them at home, as it's actually really easy to do. You might need to invest in some of the herbs if you don't have them at home, but I also wanted to show you ones that you likely do have in your spice cabinet. So let's begin. I wanted to start by talking about the importance of creating the environment, and that includes the internal environment. So when we're looking at increasing our own intimacy and our own libido and our own passions, we want to think about how are we feeling about ourselves. And something very simple we can do is drink more water, get a little more exercise, eat foods that give us vitality and energy. And by taking care of ourselves, it really does help boost our self-esteem and give us that first step in wanting to connect with someone else. So that self-confidence is so important. And it can also just be putting on some clothes or putting on an outfit or doing your hair or makeup in a certain way, or whatever it is that gives you a feeling just really good, confident, and strong in yourself. And then all of these herbs are wonderful additions to help increase circulation in the body, to increase receptivity, and also to enhance relaxation, which is kind of an openness to receiving another person. So the first herb I wanted to talk about, which is in a lot of the formulas, is Damiana. Damiana we use the green parts, and it is an herb that is native to Mexico and the Baja California region. And it has been used traditionally, not only as an aphrodisiac to increase, feelings of desire, but also as a rejuvenative for people that have traveled long distances, or it's also an herb that was used to hold stamina in the body for travel. So we can think of it as, part of what happens when we are intimate. It's not just that intimate act, but it's the whole runway bringing you there. And Damiana is an herb that can really help us especially if we're feeling exhausted or run down. I have so many students in my courses over the years who have said, gosh, Damiana really brings me into my body. It brings me into the present moment. It helps me to feel what I'm feeling. And that is such an important part of getting ready for an intimate moment, is feeling yourself. So this herb is wonderful. You can use the dried herb as a tea. It works really nicely. So the first formula I wanted to show you is a tea blend. So you'll need to buy Damiana It's unfortunately not the easiest herb to find at your local herb shop or at a supermarket. However, there is a wonderful source, Mountain Rose Herbs. I'll include a link in the description where you can buy it in a 4 ounce or an 8 ounce or a pound bag. Just for reference, this is a pound of astragalus root. So I recommend for most of you, you can just start with 4 ounces, which is like a smaller bag, and that'll give you plenty to start your journey with Damiana. So what I have here to show you is this little teapot. If you've been watching my channel lately, you've seen this teapot make its cameo in pretty much every episode. I love it. It's made by Fort Life, and it has this larger strainer, which allows you to put a lot of herb in. So I'll also include a link to this if you'd like to buy it. It comes in a bunch of different colors. But so what you're going to do is you're going to use 3 herbs. It's kind of like my sweet number for creating this blend. So with Damiana, I'm going to just use my hands here. You could use a spoon, and I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons of the dried herb. Then I'm going to use rose petals, and these are rose petals harvested last year from my garden. And rose is a really nice heart opener. It's a nervine relaxant, and it just has a beautiful and kind of romantic scent and flavor to it. It is a little bit drying. So for this one, I don't use a ton. I'm just going to do a smaller pinch. This might be about a teaspoon rather than a tablespoon. And then the third herb I will use is cinnamon. And I feel like cinnamon is one of those herbs you can use in pretty much every blend for increasing libido because it is a circulatory stimulant. So it increases blood flow to all parts of the body. It also is sweet, and it's a nice blend of moistening and a little bit toning. This one, and it's just a nice flavor. I feel like it really balances and harmonizes the flavor of all of these herbs. So I'm going to just do a pinch, probably about a pretty full teaspoon. Now, if you tend to run dry, Damiana can be a little bit drying. Then rose petal can be a little bit drying. You might want to add in a 4th herb, which I don't have on my table, but is marshmallow root. Marshmallow is very moistening. It increases secretions all over the body. So if you have vaginal dryness, mouth dryness, just general system dryness, you might want to add in about a tablespoon of marshmallow root. And then to that, all you're going to do is add hot water. So you're just going to take your water and fill it all the way to the top. And then I love this because it has a lid that'll keep any of the volatile oils from evaporating out. And then you'll let this sit for maybe about 15 minutes and then pour it into your cup. And this is something that you could do with your partner. So you could, each share or, each have your own mug and share this tea blend. And what you'll notice is this it's like the most subtle but sensitizing experience of just kind of like dropping into your body, and then your mind just starts to slow down, and then you'll start to feel the cinnamon just starting to warm and increase circulation and increase libido. So that is my first blend, my first passion potion for you. And I wanted to also mention that these herbs can be used to make an herbal syrup or oxymel. So the second recipe I have for you is a fertility and virility blend. And this one we're going to make it, I can't get my camera to the stove yet. So I'm going to pretend like this is my stovetop, but I've got a saucepan here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a very strong herbal tea, and then I'm going to add honey to it. Now for this one, you can really play with the herbs that you have. So if you have Damiana, why not use some of that? And I'm going to use about a 1/4 cup of the different herbs that I want in this blend. So let's say you have Damiana, you could do a 1/4 cup of Damiana. For this one, I'm going to use some roots because the roots really are, I think, a little bit heavier, deeper, and they cook really well over time. So I'm going to do about a quarter cup, and I'm going to measure this in my hand. I like this old way of measuring and kind of touching the herbs. So I'm going to do about a quarter cup of ashwagandha root. Ashwagandha is an Indian herb, and the translation is he who has the virility of a horse. So, this is good for both men and women and, all genders. It can be really a nice one for boosting virility and, yeah, just really kind of giving you a sense of what is the word? I need to put some memory herbs in here. I need to put some rosemary for increasing your ability to kind of stick with things. Okay, now the second herb I wanted to show you is Shatavari. And I think of ashwagandha and Shatavari as kind of like the masculine and feminine, or the Shiva and Shakti, or the yin and the yang. So ashwagandha is more like the yang herb. It increases virility. Stamina is the word I was looking for that I couldn't find. And Shatavari is more of like the feminine herb. It increases softness. It's she who possesses 100 husbands is its translation. And I think of this herb, I've used it for a ton of clients with fertility and fertility issues. It takes a while to work in terms of like balancing hormones, but what it does pretty quickly is it relaxes the central nervous system. And sometimes having high cortisol levels can be the block that is keeping us from being able to drop into a more sensitive state. So I'm going to use about a quarter cup here. It's like a full handful of my Shatavari. And I'll include the names of these if you're like, what? How do you spell that? So I'll include all of that. So I've got a quarter cup of ashwagandha, a quarter cup of Shatavari, and then I'm going to just add in a little bit of a few other herbs that are going to add some spice and sweetness. So I have licorice root, and I'm going to do about a tablespoon of licorice. It's pretty sweet and strong, so you don't need a lot. If you do have uncontrolled high blood pressure, licorice root will increase blood pressure. So if that's a problem for you, then just leave this herb out. But if it's not, it will increase blood flow, which is good. So will ginger root, which is a great one. And ginger root is especially good for increasing blood flow to the periphery. So this one can really help with erectile dysfunction or lack of sensitivity in the reproductive or sexual organs. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of ginger root. And then I'm going to add, this is Quai, or Angelica sinensis. This is a really good one also for libido. This one's especially good for postmenopausal women, but women and men of all ages and stages can benefit from it. It's very warming, it's very lubricating, and it can be hormone balancing as well. So it has slightly estrogenic properties. It's not like a strong estrogen. And it's got this kind of like maple syrup flavor, which I really like. So it's about a tablespoon of that root there. And then, as I mentioned, I love putting cinnamon in all of my formulas. So I'm going to do about a tablespoon of cinnamon. So this is a very spicy, very earthy blend. So to make our cordial, or our special elixir, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take about a half a quart of water and pour that in. You want to have a lid because you don't want, there's a lot of volatile oils in here, and if it steams, we're going to lose a lot of the flavor. So we want to put a lid on, and then I'm going to cook this on low, like as low as I can go. I'm going to heat it for maybe about an hour. So I'm going to cook these herbs. I'm going to cook these roots, and I want to decrease it. So some of the steam is going to evaporate. I'm going to cook it down until instead of it being about 2 cups, it's going to cook down to about 1 cup. Okay, and I'm going to have a really dark, strong tea. Then to that tea, I'm going to add about so it's going to be about 1 cup of tea, and I'm going to add about a half a cup of honey. Doesn't that sound good? So I'm going to have these like sweet, rich, earthy herbs in a strong tea. So 1 cup of tea, I'm going to have half a cup of honey, and then I'm going to do maybe about a 1/4 cup of brandy. And the brandy and the honey are going to help to preserve the water, because water is not, it's a very unstable medium to extract in, but both honey and alcohol are strong preservatives. So I'm going to add all of those together, shake them up or mix them, and then place them into a beautiful bottle, if I can find like a really fancy, pretty bottle, and then store that in my fridge for up to a year. And then to drink that, you can just pour yourself like a little cup. You can warm it up if you wanted to, but it's kind of like a little cordial that you'll drink maybe like an hour before intimacy, or like when you're winding down at the end of the day, or before you go out onto a date night. You can have like a shot glass or just a little sipping glass full of that cordial, and it's sweet, it's warming, it's grounding, and it will really get things moving. So that's my second passion potion recipe. My third one was a moisture blend. And I like this because, I think one thing that happens as a lot of women especially get older is that their moisture levels go down, and that can really make them more self-conscious. So one of my favorite herbs is marshmallow, and I have it. I can see it. I'm going to grab that. Marshmallow root. I go through it a lot because it's really good for sore throats. It's really good for any mucous membrane that gets dry. And especially in the fall and in the winter, when we have our heat on, it can just make everything get really dried out. So even if you're not postmenopausal, you can still get juicier by using marshmallow root. And the way that I like to use this is as an overnight infusion. And so what I like to do is use like a quart jar. So this is like your typical quart jar. It's just like a ball mason jar. And so like, just imagine I've poured my marshmallow root. It's maybe about a cup of marshmallow root. And then I'm going to add a little bit of my rose petals, like maybe a tablespoon. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of my cinnamon. So I've got marshmallow, rose, and cinnamon together. I'm telling you all, it tastes so good. Okay. I'm going to put all of those together. So about a tablespoon, and a cup into my quart jar. I'm going to add just room temperature water and let that sit on the counter overnight. And it can be, you could do it in the morning for the evening, but you want it to steep for at least 8 to 10 hours. And then I'm going to strain that. And I could actually just use this kettle, if it was empty, I could just take that, pour it in, and strain it through my very easy and large strainer, and then pour this into a mug. And I like to drink it cool, just like room temperature, but you could, if you wanted to, you could warm it up on the stove. You could even add ice cubes if you tend to run hot. And then you can sip that. And I'm telling you, a few days of drinking this, everything will get really, really warm and juicy. So that's my second remedy. My third one is if you want to go underground, like if you're interested in exploring maybe some deeper sexual patterns, traumas, if you want to go into kind of karmic work with your own sexuality, there are 3 herbs that do really, amazing work. The first one is black cohosh. And this one you're not going to brew, you're going to use it as a tincture. And that is an alcohol-based extract. Now, if you don't do alcohol, you can usually find it as a glycerate, which is a vegetable glycerin-based extract. But you're going to use black cohosh, Damiana, and then the third herb is the Angelica. So the first one, like if you had to pick just one, I would go with black cohosh, and it's a very scorpionic herb. Its other name is black snake root. I have a whole herb of the month talk on it. So if you're interested in sexual your sexual past, family karma, especially looking through the matrilineal line of sexuality, listen to that video because I'll include a link to it, but it has it goes into a lot of depth. But I would just say, start with taking 3 drops of black cohosh tincture on your tongue at night. You can do it before bed. It's a really good time before meditation, before reflection or journaling. It really starts to unravel things and get things working. And then you can pair that with a Damiana tincture, 3 drops, and Angelica sinensis tincture, 3 drops. And all 3 of those plants as a tincture together really will get things stirring and moving. And I find that those work really well as a tincture before bed, maybe not before your sexual, endeavors, because you might kind of drop into kind of a deeper processing state, which is not always conducive. It could be fun, but a lot of people find that for doing dream work or sort of the more subconscious work, even if you don't remember your dreams, knowing that those herbs are going to be doing some of that work for you. And maybe the next day you'll start getting downloads or insights as to why things are the way they are. So those are 3 herbs that are really important. I'll include a list of those as well. And then my final potion passion recipe is making your own herbal infused body oil. And this is so nice for, when you're relaxing at the end of a long day. You and your partner can do massage. You can massage each other with it. You can do self massage on your feet to just relax your own body. But this is a really nice way to care for yourself and to include touch. And I think, getting the body ready and making those physical connections before intimacy, and it is intimacy actually, just touching. So just prolonging the intimate contact can really help get your body relaxed and ready. So this is a blend that has Shatavari root, chamomile flowers, calendula flowers, and what else did I include in this one? Oh, and cinnamon bark. And you can make, I made 2 different sizes of it. Where was my other one? Here's the other one. So you can just, if you don't want this much, you can make a smaller amount. And with herbal infused oils, you don't have to follow it an exact recipe, but I would say, probably you want to fill up your jar about halfway with dried herbs. And you can't do fresh for this because it will ferment and spoil the oil. But if you fill up about, this is a quart-sized jar or about 4 cups, halfway with a blend of herbs that you might want to use. And you could put Shatavari, I have Shatavari in this one, but you could also include Ashwagandha. You could include ginger, which is really good for circulation. Any of the herbs that you'd want, you can include in here. Let it steep for about a month. If you want to speed it up, you can put it in a warm water bath, like a crock pot on warm, for maybe about 2 days. And then you'll pour it through cheesecloth, strain it, and then just add it to a pretty jar. And then you can use that to just give your bodies some moisture. And then again, just really supporting that touch, that intimate and gentle and loving touch between you and your partner. So there you have it. Those are my 5 passion potion recipes. I would love to hear from you. What are your favorite herbs to use to help your body relax, to open your mind and to open your body for intimacy? And as always, I welcome your questions if you have any about the formulas I've mentioned or the herbs. And thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please click it. I'm getting so close now to my goal of 10,000 subscribers. So thank you. And I'll see you all next week.